The Switch 2? The Switch 2? How long am I letting this Inception thing go? I should probably stop it before it gets out of hand. Okay. The Switch 2 is here. Nintendo of America. Nope, stop that. It feels like Auto 720p. Get out of here with that. No one wants that. But yeah, so it feels like it's been years being like that. There's no doubt that the Switch 1 was an incredible success for Nintendo, but for a few years now the energy has just been, we need another one. We need something a little stronger to keep up with these third party games and stuff, just not doing it, not being very good. Just double checking that. Okay. We need something with a little more power. You got to keep up with the times just a little bit. And there have been leaks for years and years, whether they were credible or not. Most of them not credible, but it's and then it's just escalated to a crazy point. Like the last couple weeks, I have been following it a little bit, where there's this, I believe it was Genki that leaked like the actual designs, and was just like, here they are, and Nintendo was like, stop that. And just, I don't, anytime they just kind of like take action against it, that just confirms, like this is for everything, like whether it's just like leaked footage or a picture or something, and there's like a cease and desist, or they're told to take it down, it just confirms that it's real. I don't know why you would go to the trouble of doing that. um but it's kind of, it's escalated to a point where it's been like, we know it's real, we know what it looks like, just reveal it already and then we can move on with our lives. And I had actually, I forgot to mention it on the stream last night, that this could be a possibility, because I was watching some rumors, and there were some rumors of a reveal for it today, this Thursday. Um, and then, oddly enough, I think it was starting to turn the other way, where they're like, "Oh, no, I'm not so sure." And then, of course, that's when Nintendo does the reverse psychology and just like, "Ha, now do it." But I should have mentioned that it was a possibility that we could come on here and do this. But how could I not? I've managed to put off watching this actual first look until right now, when I've had the time. So let me just make sure. It's not incredibly important to get people, but make sure somebody's here. And something else happened. Yep. I don't know what that means. Okay. I will take a drink in the meantime. But we'll get there eventually. It's loading right there on the screen. You shudder with anticipation. I've already seen. I don't know. It's kind of, when something like this happens on social media, it's kind of hard to avoid spoilers, I guess, for a trailer. There's probably another term, but I've seen what the model looks like, and I've seen a game that they showed off. I don't know if there's more. Probably not. It's 2 minutes. But I'm gonna watch this, give first impressions because I haven't watched it in full yet, and then we're gonna try and get some more information, gather as much reliable information as we can about what we're in for. And hello, Smar. Happy switch to Automata. Happy switch to Electric Boogaloo. Ababwa. Prince Abubu. All right, without further ado, let's watch this. I'll full screen it for now. I might not see the chat for a bit with that. Oh no, not that. Not that. This. There we go. Hopefully you can still see it. That's the Switch, yes. Mm-hmm. Was that? Nice stand, although I'm still concerned about the stability of it. Yeah. I do like the whole transformative nature of this, and just it's highlighting exactly how different it is. It's great. Whoa. Oh no, they're drifting. Deja vu. Do. Oh, there it is. Mario Kart 9 finally coming. Then the curves on the... Something's... Oh, is it flat? Okay. 2025. Okay. Plays Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive games as well as Nintendo Switch games. Nintendo Switch 2 plays both physical and digital Nintendo Switch games. Certain Nintendo Switch games may not be supported on or fully compatible with Nintendo Switch 2. Details will be shared on Nintendo website at a later date. Some assembly required. Right? Not that last part, but you know. The basic vibe. Forward to 2025, where we get to... Well, they might go over a little more about the system itself, but hopefully cover some games with it. So, man, we gotta wait like 3 months for that, though. Hands-on events, but I wonder... We, like, don't even know. Okay. Let's maybe have my chat up on here if I'm gonna be in full screen a little bit. Sorry about that. Habla. Habla. Channel. How do I... Have I forgotten how to bring up the chat on my app here? Oh, Stream Manager is what I wanted. Thank you. Okay. So more stable than the original one, yes, but I'm still a little concerned about how the parts seem a little thin and flimsy, and like if the system is heavier than a current Switch is, like that's a concern too. With all of that. What now, Twitch? God. Okay. Bunch of people streaming. Yeah, maybe over here where the light doesn't. Okay. Celebrate Appreciate Dragon Day with. Oh, Dragon's Milk. Oh. Hi, Drunken. Okay. All right. Um. But hopefully the video is still showing up while I have this full screened. I'm gonna go back through it a little bit because there were a couple things I thought I saw here. It looks just like the old Switch. I am. Oh, it made it bigger first before popping up. Okay. So we've got, yeah, it's making those slits, and then what's going on down here? That doesn't quite look like. You know, come to think of it, how is the stand going to work? Because I think I saw the USB-C port is on the top now, so how is the stand even going to work? Hey Chris, happy Switch 2 Electric Boogaloo. Phone right now because we're in the realms. Oh, okay. This looks like, I don't know, like when I first saw this earlier, it almost looked like a game cartridge. Cartridge slot. Oh, okay. I jumped the gun, sorry. Yeah, there it is. So that's just this part back here. There's a little indent for it to slide in, and then it's that. Okay. I jumped the gun a little bit. But it almost looked like a game cartridge slot from where we're at, but okay. It's all normal down there. And then we've got our normal. I'm sorry, Switch, I keep taking you in. Alright, yeah, we've got our power and volume in the same places they've been. What was that extra dot? That went back way too far. There's some extra dot right there. It's not the audio jack, because there's... So, for one thing, there is still an audio jack, thank God. In an age where they've been getting rid of those. I don't know what this dot is, though. And then the vents are getting made. There's the audio jack, and we do still have a game cartridge slot. Thank God. But, I mean, if anyone is still doing physical games, it's going to be Nintendo. Leave it to them. I saw a video right above... There was a video, like, right above this on YouTube. I don't know if you saw it when I switched over. But, it was talking about, like, could Nintendo be going all digital and there isn't a game cartridge slot on the Switch 2 and the video's from 2 days ago and this is from today? And I'm just like, I'm just going to watch this one. And I also feel that you're wrong. And turns out they were. Yeah, game cartridge. But then it's also... Okay. It's also going to have... I'm pretty sure that's USB-C, isn't it? Does it normally have ridges like that? It's just small enough that you don't really notice. It's just like hyper focused on it. But it's also going to have that on top, and I guess I'm wondering about the applications of that. Is that more for like I wonder if maybe because with the dock, there's normally a USB-C port for the charger. So does it not have the middleman of the dock anymore? And so you're plugging it in directly into the Switch all the time, but I don't know, doesn't the dock need a power source of its own? Or is that just for peripherals or something? If you want to use a controller or something. I mean, I'm sure it'll be convenient, but It's interesting. Why is that old one's dock and the main both use the same port? Okay, that's what I'm trying to do. Thank you. Okay. Dock and the main both use the same port. Yeah, but it's because yeah, there's the USB-C slot that the switch goes into when resting in the dock, and then it needs a USB-C port in the back for you to plug the charger in. And so I'm wondering if this is replacing that somehow, or if it's just having an extra one somehow for something. I wonder what they could use that for. Okay. And then the stand. It's still. It still just looks really flimsy. I don't know. And I'm like 99% sure the Switch 2 is going to be heavier than the regular Switch is. So it's good that it's stretching the length of the system now. Like that was a big issue I had with the original Switch model. I think the OLED one. I want to say the OLED one looks a little bit nicer. Let's take a look at that real quick. Yeah, that almost looks like the dock that I have. Yeah, the OLED. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is accurate. Where it looks like. I hope I'm not. I'm probably blocking this. Okay. Yeah. It looks more like this. So like the whole bottom of the system would basically flap out, and that just seemed so stable. I was very impressed by that. What zoom level did I put this to? But yeah, so it's not perfect, and I just don't use that. I just don't use that stand much anyway. Whoa. Okay. I don't use that stand much anyway. So, but I because I have concerns about it is why. It doing something closer to the top up here is interesting. It's got a whole, yeah, it's got this whole thing that almost seems to fit. How does that whole thing fit inside the system? It's got that whole jut that comes out. That seems to take up the whole system. That's weird. Can lean it back that far? I wouldn't do that. And then this is great. Okay. Alright, so when they flip it like this is the size comparison, so this is very good. The Joy-Cons are going to be bigger, which is huge. That's a great thing. I thought I saw, must have been, I don't think it was with the Genki leaks or anything, but I saw some kind of concept thing that would have been kind of nice if they also put the home button on this side. They put the capture button on both sides, which is nice, but in games like I'm playing Mario Party Jamboree with only the left Joy-Con, it sure would be nice to have access to that home menu whenever I need it with using that left Joy-Con. Because the left Joy-Con is just so much more comfortable to play sideways than the right one is, and you don't get tripped up by like the letters on the buttons or anything because they're all vague right there. It just mean it seems like it's way more suited to be used that way than the right one is, and it would have been nice if they accounted for that and added a home button there, but they didn't. But capture's on the right one. And this transformative nature, this is very cool. How they did all this. So it's got some kind of magnet mechanism now, based on reports, and so it's going to be very horizontal instead of vertical for removing it. It's supposed to like snap into place, and I am honestly very concerned about that. The sliding the Joy Cons off is honestly very satisfying, and I always felt like it was very stable for the controllers as well. I'm really not sure. I hope they're really confident about this mechanism, but I can kind of imagine. I don't know. I'd probably need to test it out myself and like hold it in my hands and know how stable it is. Otherwise, I'd be like constantly worried about like pulling the console apart, for lack of a better term. Um, keep making the left purple, but not the right. But yeah, I am concerned about this mechanism here, and I'd like to think the only reason behind it, because I really don't think there was much of a failure rate with Joy-Cons like not connecting to the consoles. Like I've never heard anything about that. So I'm kind of surprised that they changed that at all. And the only logic I can really come to for why they did that is, if it's maybe, and again, I don't know a huge amount about the makings of controllers and stuff like that, but maybe if it's having some kind of effect on the Joy Cons and making them drift somehow with that mechanism, or I don't know. But I would think, like along those lines, I would think that the magnet situation would maybe be even worse for that. So it's kind of baffling to me why they did that. But more just face value here, I do like how this pops out a little bit higher. Um, the controller is already going to be sizably bigger, and it's going to feel really nice when you're holding it sideways. And these SL and SR buttons are huge now. They're so much bigger. Let me get my Joy-Con off to show you this here. But yeah, this is the size they are right now, and so you can almost see. Well, I was gonna turn it in like the same way. I'll try to do like an opposite thing, but it's it's quite a difference. And like honestly, what I've had to do with these is put on, like, I have these little mini controllers that these snap into, and they've got like little triggers on them that make it easier to press the buttons. Those are comfortable, but like thinking about potentially not having to use those anymore because this is comfortable enough by itself would be nice to think about. Um, It'd be very cool. Yeah, another thing about the right Joy-Con is it's got that IR sensor at the bottom of it, and yeah, you can kind of still see it there. I think it's still right there. And I'm kind of not comfortable having like my hand against that all the time, so that's another reason why I like using the left Joy-Con because it doesn't have it, and it's just a lot more comfortable. Like the stick is in the right place. The buttons are a little far over, but with how small the controller is, it's really not a problem. It's a lot better than, because like basically with the other Joy-Con, the stick is where the buttons are, and then you have to do it. It just doesn't feel anywhere near as good. Um, I'm gonna leave you right there for right now in case I need another demonstration thing. Oh, you've had a couple that are wonky about sliding onto the system. There was one I had some. It didn't happen with these. I think it happened with a peripheral or like a third party controller where it came with a bunch of its own sliding things, and those sliced at it so much that I think it had issue fitting into other things or staying in other things. But okay. But I do like it's going to be a much bigger controller. It's going to be a much more comfortable controller, all around. I am just concerned about this attachment stuff and like why they felt the need to change that so drastically. Here's the blue one. Okay. Basically there. Sync buttons, and there's some kind of sensor on this now too. I've seen some speculation videos where I think it's more of like a laser type sensor that modern mouses use. So there's speculation about it potentially being usable as a mouse, or having some application that way. So like sliding it around like that, which is very interesting. That is also kind of supported by how they use it a little later. Does this also have the sensor at the bottom? That looks like the sensor too, unless there's just a different way the material wraps around it this time. But when at least it always is finicky about staying connected, which always made me trying to use it in handheld a pain. Oh, unfortunate. Yeah, I think I have one that has like GameCube like buttons on it. It's a third-party thing, and I think that has a lot of issues staying connected as well, which is unfortunate because it's very helpful for some games. Got a couple GameCube remasters on here on the first Switch, and they will be on the Switch too because backwards compatibility. Yeah, really, really, really wish there was a home button on this Joy-Con too. It's nice they double down on the capture button, but they double down on the wrong button. It's nice to give all players an option to capture things as well, but it's like it's like the left. It's like player one. It's the player one Joy-Con. Why would player one not get access to the home button? It's so weird. It's weird to me. But the Joy-Cons look nice. They've pivoted so that the color is more in the accents and not overall. I mean, that could definitely change with some variants later. We all know the kinds of things they put out and that other people put out, so that could easily change at a later time. But for now, that seems to be like the base thing. And I've seen a lot of like third-party Switch controllers and stuff kind of adopt the same aesthetic mindset as well. And so it's kind of fun to see it reverse engineered and applied to the real thing. Yeah, hopefully the buttons are a little bit bigger and feel a little bit better. Yeah, and so here's that potential application of them being used as mouses. It looks like one thing I notice here. Again, that went back a little too far. Okay. It looks like these are almost meant to act as like stands for the controllers as well. It seems like they're a little wider, which I find interesting. And they also just snap on as opposed to being a slide off thing. And again, I feel like it's going to be a little less secure on there. I'm always going to be worried about that until I get it in action and just go like, oh, that's not coming off. But I think part of the purpose of it is it's meant to come off easier in some cases, but if it's supposed to stay on the system, I hope it succeeds in doing that and doesn't, with like involving magnets and stuff, I just hope it doesn't have any effect on the interior of the controllers, but I'd like to think they've thought that through. But anyway, Deja Vu. There's a button on the front. This is going to go back way too far again. Button. That's probably there's probably some kind of locking mechanism to it still, which I would hope so, when it's connected to the system as well. So this is probably just the unlock button. So just questioning the logistics of you press the top of that and then like peeling it off. Let's see. Wasn't having trouble staying connected to the Switch in the same sense of it acknowledged wireless connection. Problem was that when it was directly attached to the console, it would decide, nah, I'm going to be wireless and not let me do. Oh yeah, I think I have run into that a couple times actually. Where it like can't decide. I do have these thankfully these Zelda ones that look very nice haven't started drifting or anything too bad yet. They're very nice to look at, and I want to keep them on the system as long as possible. It also helps that I just don't use them in I really don't use them that often, except for like Mario Party or something when that calls for it. I don't play a huge amount of things portably on my Switch. There was a game every now and then that came along and was almost I think better portably. Like I think Super Mario RPG was a great game to play portably because it didn't compromise the look of the game too much, and it felt right. It felt right playing that there. Everything was like chibi size, so it was almost like a portable iteration or like a portable installment of a game with that art style alone. That's still a great game that I need to get back to as well. Um, and then something like if you want to play like Okami HD with the you want that touchscreen, so that'll be good. But yeah, okay, so that's the unlocking button. Whoa. Yeah. I do like if you have the Joy-Cons removed, the Switch itself is still going to be interesting to look at because of those colored sides. And again, this could easily change. Could easily change with later versions or special editions of the console and whatever they decide to do. But you just like have it docked and remove the Joy-Cons, and you still get like a splash of color on either side of the system, and that's neat. Do very clear that and Cario Mart. Mario Brothers Circuit, okay. Yeah, I wanted this close up of the cart. It definitely looks different. People have been pointing out the art style seems to be a little more cartoony in the characters themselves. I'm not getting a whole lot from the environment though. I'm not getting a whole lot from the environment, but the carts themselves look very nice. I'm just it's time. It's time for another Mario Kart because it's been God, I think it's been 10 years since Mario Kart 8. That's crazy to think about. But it's starting to get outshined by a couple more things, and so it's time for a new iteration, and I'm excited to see what they do because 8 was obviously such a big deal. I mean, Mario Kart's kind of always a big deal, but that one kind of really took things to the next level. So it'll be interesting to see how they expand on that. Here's a question. Mario Kart 8 Ultra Deluxe 2? No, 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 no. I'd like to think the reason why they did Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on Switch was so they could have an actual new Mario Kart for Switch 2. And just like it is starting to seem like all the projected or like the rumored games for Switch 2 are kind of happening because like that this has kind of always been the rumor of doing a Mario Kart 9 for Switch 2. That always made sense. And then I think Metroid Prime 4 being the big launch title for the system to sell things if for some reason Mario Kart can't. Um, I think that's a decent lineup as well as um, maybe Xenoblade Chronicles X remastered kind of being a crossover thing as well. But are these that does beg the question of like are these going to it has a disclaimer at the end about Switch 2 exclusive games. So like how many of these are going to be available on the original Switch along with the Switch 2? How many of them are going to be like cross ported, I guess? Have I ever streamed Mario? I don't think I have. Well, not specifically not 8, I don't think. Um, because I did do kind of surprising. I don't think I did either Double Dash or Mario Kart Wii in those console showcases because I had some other games I wanted to give more attention to instead. But I did do Mario Kart 64 for the showcase last year. I did do that. So I have streamed a Mario Kart. I did play Mario Kart Tour for a little bit, and like as far as mobile games go, that is like the closest you can probably get to actually playing the game that you're supposed to be playing based on those. And it just had a lot to it, and that's going to be another thing. Like Mario Kart Tour had so many cosmetics and just like stuff that it offered. It's going to be interesting to see how much this game offers in terms of content. Like not just racers, but like if they have like different character variants, if they have a bunch of different tracks, um, things like that. No, don't hide the Mario. And this, I don't know how I feel about the curved dock up top, because I'm just like, I mean, the dock's kind of seen, it's almost like a screen protector in a way as well. Um, and so I'm just kind of like, why doesn't it just cover the whole screen? But the vent is at the top, and so if they're worried about heat accumulating up there, I mean, I understand you need to air out the system as well, but just I don't know, because like the curves of the system aren't, they're all the way at the end, like where the Joy Cons are. And that is another thing. I do think the Joy Cons are a little more rounded off in places. Whereas, yes, we had the rounded edges with these Joy Cons, but I think it's a little more drastic of an angle. I think it's even more rounded, but I'm not sure. And then, yeah, I was something, because I kept seeing pictures, obviously, of like the whole setup, and something about this grip controller just did not look right to me. I thought it was like, it seems like it's awfully beveled over here, and I was trying to find out, I was trying to think why that is. But with this, they angled it a little bit, and yes, I think what's going on is the top of it is just flat. And that allows for the more horizontal nature of removing the Joy-Cons to work better. So you have that room to just take it off horizontally. And that's fine. That's pretty sleek, actually. Maybe they could have, I don't know, it doesn't seem to like complement the placement of the Joy Cons as well as the original grip did, but I don't know how much I'll even use the grip. I did it out of necessity early on in my time with the Switch, but when other controllers showed up, I kind of used just the one Joy-Con or a Pro controller or some third-party controller. And then there's more Mario Kart up there. Let me actually go back and focus on what they were doing up there. Look at the Mario. He's got one up canister. Okay. Yeah, if anyone gets anything from the backdrop of this game, please let me know, because I haven't played. There's a lot of Mario games I haven't played. I haven't but like specifically I haven't played Wonder, which could change everything. Like if they introduce that and dynamic maps the hell out of the game, like that could be the big new hook, just Wonder Flower and the stage completely changes halfway through. But I don't have a whole lot of information as far as that's concerned. So if you have any idea like where this location might be, do let me know. But the characters and carts do look pretty good. People have been talking about how DK looks. He does look a little different. I kind of think the track should look a little better. Because doesn't the track in that one level of Mario Party Jamboree look better than this? Or maybe we just don't get enough of a zoom in on that. But the tires look really good. The carts look different. The character models look different. Um. Oh, what's the yes about the track? Hmm. The gravel is mediocre. Yeah, I think there's even some like Mario Kart 8 gravel that looks better than that. But it's early footage, and we're not going to get more until April, probably, as unfortunate as that is. This boost pad looks very interesting. Yeah, I think this is the still that most people have been sharing because it's the whole system right here, and then Mario Kart. I'd like to think Mario Kart and Metroid Prime 4 can sell a system. What do you think? I think that's plenty. Yoshi's Diner. Yeah, there's something right there that seems to be an interesting pickup. Very interesting how big this track is. How big it seems to be. But I don't know, there just isn't a lot around it. There's nothing really interesting to look at. And that seems weird for a Mario Kart game to just have a track in the middle of nowhere, you know? And then 2025. And then here's this disclaimer again. And yeah, to coincide with the Wonder thoughts, I've seen people point out it's like, hey, they're showing Mario Wonder right down there. Coincidence? But I'm not sure if it goes into. I'm not sure if it clarified whether it's an OLED screen or not for the new one. I'd like to think it is. I'd like to think we're just past the normal ones, and OLED is the future. Because I never got the Switch OLED, as you could probably tell from the basic bitch normal Switch that I just pulled out a few times. But yeah, no, I've still got the same old Switch that I've had since 2017. So not quite at launch, but it was like November 2017, so it's within the first year of it existing, maybe even the first 6 months, practically a little bit more. But it's been a while. I've seen the OLED model in some stores and stuff, and I'm like, cool, but there's no power boost or anything to it, so it doesn't really seem worth it to me. Um, was an OLED my original runs SV, like Scarlet and Violet, or yeah, and that this is going to be. I mean, it's good that it's confirmed now, so I maybe leaks will stop. I gotta be real with you. I'm like so tired of video game leaks. I'm seeing just more and more of them every day, and it's just like, don't people have anything better to do? It's nowhere close to even just being about this. Like Switch leaks alone, the past few years have been terrible. But just like everything else, like people just can't get enough and just are impatient as hell and are somehow just continuously leaking shit from everywhere, gaming wise. And I am so sick of it. Just take your skills and put them to use elsewhere, please. Just man. Scarlet Violet, okay. Is OLED Switch is so laggy with SV, and my 6-year-old Switch runs it fine. Crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they do that. But hopefully it runs fine on the Switch too. But yeah, that's going to be a rough wait. Hands-on events, but none of them are near me. Okay, that's that trailer. We've spent 45 minutes on it. Fantastic. And there's the Xenoblade right there. One more thing at least I'd like to do, if not more. Oh, this didn't update. Hold on. I got okay. So this is I still don't think actual Nintendo of America is on Blue Sky yet, but there's an unofficial channel that reposts everything from the Twitter account. So this is as official as we can get on Blue Sky, but there is a link to learn more, and I thought that would be good to do. Yeah. An update from Nintendo watched. This can't be it. If it's just the trailer, I'm gonna be mad. New mug with sleep tea. Okay. Skip. Hey, there we go. All right. Look at that. Yeah, like I saw this shot as well, and it still looks kind of beveled, but I think it's just flat there and looks a little weird. But yeah, the color on the sides, it's gonna look nice. A little worried about these plugs constantly being exposed as well, but yeah, you got a great big trigger for the locking mechanism back there now. You gonna loop that? Snap. Yeah, hopefully it's that strong and that responsive. Oh. I didn't even focus very much on the shoulder buttons and everything. Those look super nice actually. That is and they kind of do that. They kind of wrap around like that as they are, but with a bigger, wider Joy-Con, they're going to be so much bigger. Like look at the size of those L and R buttons. They look really nice. Heat reactive Bowser mug. Oh, neat. Okay. Yeah, those buttons look really nice. Let's see. And then that's basically just the same disclaimer that the trailer had, but are we getting some confirmed backwards compatibility back here? Looks like we've got Mario and Luigi Brothership, Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Princess Peach Showtime, WarioWare Move It. I think that's Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Kirby Forgotten Land, Splatoon 3, Pikmin, Clubhouse Games, Mario Party Jamboree, Tears of the Kingdom, Animal Crossing, Xenoblade 3, Fire Emblem Engage. But yeah, I would imagine that all first party stuff working in backwards compatibility is the bare minimum. The bare minimum. Like, no way every single first party game isn't backwards compatible. Okay. Closer look at Nintendo Direct. Okay, there is a learn more there. I'm not sure what they're going to tell us, but okay. Yeah, so New York, Los Angeles is on fire, so good luck with that. And then also Dallas, which I'm not all that close to. Yep. Unfortunately, but a free Nintendo account is required to register. That's interesting. Okay, there's some learn mores on these. Wait, okay. Air on Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025, offering a closer look at Nintendo Switch 2, the successor to Nintendo Switch, releasing 2020. Broadcast time will be announced on this website and on our social media accounts at a later date. Okay. Didn't go into any detail about whether it's more about the system itself or the games, or you gotta know something. Another thing I just noticed. The lip for like opening the game cartridge slot seemed to be on the back instead of the front, unless I was looking at it incorrectly. Let's wait for it again. Come over to it. Yeah, see, it's there on the back. And that's interesting. So you would do it more like that to lift it up, and then it goes forward, which is kind of weird to me. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting. Okay. This is going to take us back to... Alright, well, at least it's on the front page, because, you know, sometimes they don't care about reveals and stuff. Yeah, they've kind of already been curving it a little bit, because you look at the progression here. Like the regular Switch dock was like perfectly rectangular there, and then they added a slight curve for the OLED model, and now the Switch 2 has even more of that. Eventually, it'll just be a giant circle for the Switch 3. But no. Okay. Let's see if we can... How much more information can we get out of this? There was a... and of course it's gone now. There was an IGN video going over like 30 things. It's like 30 new things revealed or to get from the trailer. Let's see. 30 details from the Switch 2 trailer. And they have a reaction thing that's 40 minutes. We're not going to do that. But
It's finally here. After months of speculation and rumor, Nintendo's new console has been announced, and it's called the Nintendo Switch 2. It's an understated name to match an understated console. On first inspection, it barely looks any different to a regular Switch. But take a closer look, and there's plenty of fascinating details that suggest how Nintendo has evolved its beloved hybrid console. 30 of them, in fact, and we're here to show you them all. From a brand new face button to whole new ways of using the Joy-Con, here's everything revealed in the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal trailer. The Switch 2's form factor is much the same as its predecessor, just a little bigger. The main unit of the console has grown in size, and the Joy-Con are taller too. We estimate the entire console is around 15% bigger than the original Switch. Gone are the brightly colored Joy-Con of the last generation. Nintendo has opted for a uniform grey across the entire console, which gives the entire device something of a sleeker, Steam Deck-like appearance.
Yeah,
That's not to say the console is devoid of color
stuff,
entirely.
I figure, but maybe there's something in here.
Back to the original Switch's bright red and blue controllers with a ring of color around each analog stick. This extends to the inner edges of both the console unit and each Joy-Con, which not only looks slick, but acts as a color-coding system. Red slots into red, and blue slots into blue.
What if you get a different color Joy-Con?
The Joy-Con no longer slide into place on rails. Instead, they now directly slot into the device, with a protruding connector on the main unit plugging into a slot on the inner edge of the Joy-Con. While unconfirmed by this trailer, Rumors have suggested that each Joy-Con is held in place using magnets, similar to Apple's MagSafe laptop charging cables. The rear of each Joy-Con features a newly designed trigger system that releases the controller from the main unit. As you can briefly see in the demonstration video published on Nintendo.com, squeezing the trigger causes a piston-like component inside the Joy-Con to push the controller away from the console. On the front of the Joy-Cons, we can see that the classic controller layout has been preserved. The analog sticks remain offset, with the left stick sat above the 4 direction buttons, and the right stick below the A, B, X, and Y face buttons. Towards the tops of the controller are the plus and minus buttons, and at the bottom...
So with the Switch, I get why they do the lopsided control sticks like they do. Despite it being popular to do that for some reason, it's so each person can take the Joy-Con and play like this. But and this might be a hot take here, but I don't think lopsided control sticks works for a console that you hold portably. Because you're naturally it's going to make your hands work differently and hold the controller in different places. And I think what you really want for that stability is to hold it the same way in both hands consistently. And I think that's something where they were on the right track with the Wii U gamepad and having those 2 joysticks up on top. I really think it worked better in that way. I think even the Steam Deck is doing something like that. Obviously, the PlayStation Portal is like that with how their controllers normally are. But I think that's just better if you're largely using a console in portable mode. It just affects the way you hold the system so much, having the sticks in 2 different places like that. And I just don't think it's as good. But anyway. It does align with other controllers, like Xbox definitely popularized it. GameCube had it, yes, and then moved away from it for a while, and now they're kind of back to it. So if you're an Xbox denier and just want to say they went back to the GameCube style, you can say that, but I kind of do recall the days of the Wii U where I think I saw a lot of people used to the Xbox controllers like complaining about the Wii U layout and just like, why didn't you? And it's dumb. It's dumb, I think, personally, but anyway.
Bottom is the square capture button on the left and circle home button on the right. Below the home button is a new, unlabeled button. What it does is currently a mystery to anyone but Nintendo. The L and R shoulder buttons are exactly where you'd expect them.
So it's not another share button. It's the same shape as the share button. Why would it not be a share button? And then if it's a new thing, why would that also not be on the left Joy-Con? Like, what's wrong with you? Jeez. Poor left Joy-Con, not getting attention.
To be, and sitting beneath them are the ZL and ZR triggers. These appear to be deeper and more rounded than those on the Switch, and so will hopefully be more comfortable to use and easier to operate.
I'm never going to have the stand at that much of an angle. Never. I'm concerned about just leaning the system on it. I'm not going that far, man. Nintendo, if you want to complain about Wii U setup, we could always go back to N64 if you prefer that. Oh, oh boy. They could. Just give us those NES box controllers. Oh no.
Great. The analog sticks still use a low-profile design, but their faces have a notably smaller inside ring radius and thicker, taller rims. This likely is to provide better thumb grip and support.
Yay.
There's no sign of the NFC Amiibo interface on the right-hand Joy-Con, but that's not to say it won't be there. After all,
how do you know? How do you know that?
The Amiibo interface on the right-hand Joy-Con.
How do you know that?
There's no sign of the NFC Amiibo interface on the right-hand Joy-Con.
Was it? Because, like, the whole thing about... I have 2 packed Amiibo over here, but I'm not going to unpack them to show you. But the whole thing about Amiibo was you would just put them on the right stick. So he's almost basically saying the right stick isn't there, but it is. But that's the only... Like, as far as I know, there isn't a way to tell whether or not the Joy-Con can do it, aside from putting one on the right stick and finding out. Okay. But I don't know, that seems like a weird thing to say.
But that's not to say it won't be there. After all, the feature was invisible on the original Switch.
Yeah.
What does seem to be missing though, is the IR sensor that was on the bottom edge of the original right Joy-Con. Considering barely any Switch games used it, it's perhaps unsurprising to see it cut from the Switch 2.
Okay.
Once
The
again,
thing is, though, because they keep showing the thing, and it looks like it still has the outline of it right here. You're seeing that, right? That still looks like this IR sensor's here, just maybe a little more subtle. That's what I'm getting out of this, at least. But I am a little weird about like holding this Joy-Con and like putting my hand over that IR sensor and potentially smudging it up so that it doesn't work as well in the off chance that a game uses it. So if it's just removed from the console or from the design, that's probably fine. I would be okay with that, and then I would be a tiny bit more inclined to use the right Joy-Con if I needed to, but
the internal edges of each Joy-Con controller have SL and SR buttons, indicating that the Switch 2 will still allow players to use each individual Joy-Con as its own controller. The big improvement here, though, is that the SL and SR buttons are significant.
Look at that comparison. Something's really weird about... Yeah, it almost looks like an outer thing instead of a bevel with that, but yeah. Crazy. Crazy how much bigger they're making those. Labo and Ring Fit are the only games I can think of to use that sensor. I want to say like some 1-2 Switch stuff did as well, but I don't think people like those as much. So, but yeah, that's going to be incredibly nice how big those buttons are.
Significantly larger, potentially up to 4 times the length of those on the original Switch. They will almost certainly be easier to use. The strip of 4 green LEDs that indicate which player each Joy-Con is assigned to has returned, although this time it's on the forward-facing edge of the connector strip, rather than the inward-facing one. Between the SL and SR buttons is the connector port that links each Joy-Con to the main console unit, but also another couple of interesting components. Mirroring the original Switch, we can see the sync button, which will pair a Joy-Con with the console. It's the component above the connector that proves most intriguing though. This small, clear lens could well be a laser sensor similar to what's inside a computer mouse. If so, it would mean the Joy-Con can be used like a mouse. The trailer even suggests this, when the Joy-Con skates around with their wrist wrap accessories attached. They literally look like scurrying mice with tails. Talking of the wrist straps.
It is a little weird to think about with like... It's because of how thin these are. I mean, sure they can stand up on their own, but it's an application I wouldn't have considered, and it's like it's very out of the box thinking, I think, and I'm like, good job on that, Nintendo, but I don't know, like if given the choice, it's like, hey, you could use your Joy-Con as like a PC mouse, and it's like, thanks, I'm not going to do that. I would want something a lot wider than that to use that way. But it's very interesting to think about like how their games could potentially use something like that.
They're back in a newly designed form, with red and blue colors to match the internal color splash on each Joy-Con. Moving on to the main console unit itself, the key improvement is
we're
a
only
bigger
halfway.
screen. It's not quite the near edge-to-edge panel that the Switch OLED boasted, but it takes up significantly more of the unit than the original Switch's display. What display technology it uses is currently unclear. While we'd love to see a bright OLED screen, the base model could well use a more traditional LED panel. The top edge of the device is largely unchanged. It features a slightly redesigned power and volume switch,
What's that?
a 3.5mm headphone jack, and a ventilation grill that appears to be of a roughly similar size to that on the
It's over there. I keep pointing at the screen for some reason. What is this? Because audio jack and stuff are over there. The vent is... No, I guess it is segmented like that. Okay. Alright, the vent looks like a vent, but... Is this... It almost looks like another laser sensor up here, and I wonder why that is. I wonder what that would be used for. Point and click adventure. Oh no. I'd like to think it could be something a little more ambitious than like 1990s point and click PC games. But yeah, it's kind of weird having a sensor on top of this. Like, if you're holding the system, then you're playing in portable mode, so what would it need to communicate with? You know?
original Switch, just split into 3 vents rather than 5. The game card slot also remains on the top edge of the console. It's also the only visible slot on the device. Considering the machine is backwards compatible, that means the Switch 2's game cartridges will almost certainly be the same form factor as those used in the original Switch. There is one
Or they're going to be those dumb 3DS cartridges that have the jut on the side. You know, that whole stupid thing where it's just like, yeah, it's the size of a DS one, but it's got this stupid tumor on the end of it, so you can't put it in your base DS. But jut, yes. I think it personally. I think it's going to be something dumb like that. But if it is a form factor and they stick to consistent stuff, I mean, that's nice too. It would have to be clearly labeled on a tiny little cartridge, like which one it's for, but aside from that.
new curious addition to the top edge to speculate about though. Next to the headphone jack, we can see a USB-C port. What this is for, we're uncertain, as the Switch 2 also has the same bottom-mounted USB-C port as its predecessor for docking and charging. Perhaps there are a range of USB-based peripherals in the work that make more sense mounted to the top of the console. Or perhaps the next Pokemon will go fully old school and use a link cable to trade monsters. We're perhaps too excited than we should be to find out what a mystery USB slot does. Alongside the bottom-facing USB-C port are new downward-firing speakers that replace the original Switch's rear-facing speakers. This new position will hopefully ensure better sound quality. The rear of the console sports a brand new kickstand system, which runs the entire length of the console. It does admittedly look a bit flimsy, but the rubber feet on the edges of the console unit itself may be there to help support the kickstand and keep the entire device steady. The kickstand also seems to be able to lock into multiple angles, and one that lies at a much shallower angle that's almost lying flat. As you'd expect, the Switch can be plugged into a dock and connected to a TV. The dock appears nearly identical to the original Switch's, but the corners have been rounded off to match the radius of the Joy-Cons. Oh, and there's a massive Switch 2 logo on the front of it too. Also mirroring the original Switch is the inclusion of a controller peripheral that the Joy-Cons slot into. It looks just as uncomfortable as the original version, but hopefully hands-on time will into.
I was trying to get
In the original Switch is the inclusion of a controller peripheral that the Joy-Con.
Yeah, look at that. Are those little magnets on the bottom too? But yeah, look how flat. It's incredibly flat and just sleek. It's very much just like a platform where, like, aside from the thing in the middle, it's just kind of like, here, put your controller on top. instead of... 'Cause that's the whole thing, because like the initial grip it like wraps around the Joy-Cons to an extent, and so this is a lot more freeform. The dog returns, yes. All the artwork of the control, yes.
Slot into. It looks just as uncomfortable as the original version, but hopefully hands-on time will reveal that some improvements have been made. You can't have a console reveal trailer without a game, and this Switch 2 reveal gives us a sneak peek at what appears to be a brand new Mario Kart game. It appears this will be a bigger, more chaotic version of Nintendo's beloved racer, as the starting line has space for 24 racers. Mario Kart...
Oh, no. 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 Let me tell you something. Every time you add more players to a kart racer with items and weapons, it is a terrible idea. Because I think... So, like, the original Mario Karts used to just have 8 people in a race. And then I want to say... Well, Double Dash is a little confusing because there's 2 people on each kart. But but in Mario Kart Wii they upped it to 12. And so what you're running into with that is you're running into more racers with each getting their own items. So there's going to be more items thrown around consistently. So that's already been upped to levels that are unfavorable with 12, and now you're trying to fucking double that. And that does not sound fun. So item balance is going to have to be rock solid, or it's not going to be a fun experience with 24 people. I'm just putting that out there. And then I don't remember what happened to it, but I remember hearing about some like 64 player battle royale kart racer game a while back, and I remember having the same thought back then, and I'm like, no, not 64 player. And just why? You're not gonna have 24 people playing on one system. So, like, what's even the point in upping it? What's even the point? Only blue shells. No. See, that's the problem. Stuff like that. A handful of them have lightning bolts, and just... It's too much. It's too much. Item spam, like... So, Deluxe... I want to say base Mario, because like another problem with it, I want to say base Mario Kart 8 had 12 people in a race. So Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, what they did is they gave... Everyone has the 2 item slots. So they can hold reserve items, swap between, and things like that. So you're getting... I suppose their idea of balance would be 24 players, but you can't get double items anymore. But if we're still doing this, like if you're doubling the player count and everyone gets 2 items, which, I mean, that if they don't have the double item thing, that would be removing a feature at this point, and I don't get why you would ever remove a feature ever, either. But just, God, that's nightmarish. Why would you want that? Why would you want that much?
Kart 8 was limited to just 12 racers. Arching over that starting line is a sign that reads Mario Kart Mario Bros Circuit. It appears to be a whole new, seemingly American-flavored track for Mario Kart, one that appears to make use of a more open space and off-road sections. The clip confirms 10 characters for the roster: Mario, Luigi, Bowser, Peach, Yoshi, Toad, Donkey Kong, Daisy, Rosalina, and finally, Wario, who can be spotted for just a split second as the screen flips. While brand new games such as Mario Kart were obviously on the cards, it's good to see that old Switch games will be supported through backwards compatibility. However, the reveal trailer does warn that certain games may not be supported. We suspect that this may refer to games that use peripherals that directly connected to the Switch One's Joy-Cons. Ring Fit Adventure, for instance, required the Joy-Con to be slotted into the ring, and the new Joy-Con design will presumably be incompatible with the old rail system.
I didn't even think about that. Okay, so yeah, some games like that might not work, and then also, since they mentioned it earlier, if the IR sensor is gone, if this is gone, then any games that use that wouldn't be compatible either. Okay, so there's a couple. Yeah, I didn't think about peripherals and stuff like that. Ring Fit is a very odd one. It's kind of an outlier as it is, but yeah, something like that might not work. And it's not going. It is going to be a little unfortunate because I feel like a lesser talked about point with the Wii U is that it was pretty friendly to old peripherals. Like you could still use Wii remotes and nunchucks and even like the old Pro controllers and stuff in games if you wanted to. But I don't know. I mean, maybe it's like additional controllers, like say Mario Party or something, if someone wants to do like a single controller, and then obviously if you're playing like older games on the same system, like say you're playing Mario Party Jamboree on the Switch 2, you would definitely still be able to use Joy-Cons there, and maybe like simpler games like Mario Kart and stuff, you might still be able to use these, but it maybe seems like it's going to be a little less friendly, because for one thing, they're not going to be able to attach directly to the sides of the console, which is a weird thing, but it's what Nintendo consoles are about now. Attaching controllers to the sides of them. And whether or not you can do it. Also Starlink potentially. Yeah, potentially. Oh, Starlink 2 though. If they give us Starlink 2, oh. Better land on planet transitions than Starfield on the Switch. And then, but yeah, it brings some things into question with altering that design a little bit. But the new Joy-Cons should be really nice, like a little bit bigger. The section with SL and SR jut out quite a bit, and so it's going to feel great to hold, I think. It's going to be nice.
But when can we get our hands on this brand new Nintendo console? 2025 is the only date we're given, so sometimes within the next 12 months. We'll learn much more, including hopefully a release date in just a few short months. A Nintendo Direct is scheduled for April 2nd. Following the Direct, you'll be able to get hands-on with the console yourself as part of the Nintendo Switch 2 experience, a worldwide tour taking place between April and June, starting on April 4th in New York and Paris, and then going on to visit cities such as London, Berlin, Melbourne, Tokyo, and Seoul. It is open to all Nintendo account holders, provided you win a ticket via the free-to-enter ballot. Registration for the ticket raffle opens on January 17th. And those are the 30 key details revealed by the Switch 2 announcement trailer. Be sure to watch the trailer itself in full, and for everything else Nintendo and more, stick with IGN.
Okay. A lot of it was pretty basic and stuff that we pointed out, but there were a couple decent things to point out in there. Nintendo Life. Okay, that one's specifically about the new Mario Kart, which we could pivot to. Reveal trailer analysis. Okay. I don't know. Do we trust GameXplain or Nintendo Life more for information? It's all about reliable sources these days. Trust no one? Well, I mean, fair, but... The juicy rumors. Or Switch Stop. Or Arlo. Or Maximilian Dude going to Evo. That's unrelated, but that's good. Or How to Find Jermaine in Rivals of Aether 2. Some of these aren't. That one's twice as long. This one's half as short. I'm gonna do the Nintendo Life one.
Hey everyone, Felix from Nintendo Life here.
Enel.
Hey everyone, Felix from Nintendo Life here, and the Switch 2 has just been announced with one game for us to look at, and it is a new Mario Kart. Is it Mario Kart 9?
I doubt that
Mario
game's
Kart
that.
X
Not,
because they're
I doubt the
counting
game's
Mario
that
Kart Tour as an
demanding,
actual
so it
Mario
could be
Kart?
on Switch 2.
Well, we don't know that yet, but we do have some new footage to look at, and I've even discovered some things that no one else is talking about on the interwebs. So,
yeah, okay.
Without further ado, let's race right
There's
into
a
it.
dummy thick Gengar up there. Hold up.
Without further ado,
Did you guys see the... Am I blocking it? I hope I'm not blocking it. Am I blocking it? Ah, I'm blocking it. Okay. Hold up. Look at this dummy thick Gengar in the corner. He's got the collector's edition of A Short Hike. I don't normally do this, but I just like... just by chance that I chose to just pause and critique the guy's collection back here. Some interesting stuff. Those are like foreign DS cases. I think I only know that because my copy of Star Fox Command is technically like the German version or something, but it still managed to work on my dude. But Nintendo games from Amazon, you know how it goes sometimes. But yeah, thick, dummy thick anyway, kind of. But yeah, he's just round.
Right into it.
All right.
We're starting off with probably the biggest change of them all. As you can see here in the start, there's 24 starting spaces. Now, for a lot of us, this confirms 24 players, but I've also seen other people speculate, well, this could be a cosmetic thing. We don't actually see 24 characters racing around, but actually you do, because I've made the big discovery. Analyzing this footage, there is 24 different characters. They're actually doubling the amount of playable characters at once. And if you don't believe me, well, I have proof. So let's go through the characters right now. All right. 1. Mario. 2. Luigi. 3. Bowser. 4. Peach. 5. Toad. 6. Donkey Kong. 7. Yoshi. 8. Daisy. 9. Wario. 10. Rosalina. 11. Koopa Trooper. And then we're going to go a bit further in the footage. 12. Pauline. 13. Baby Mario. 14. Baby Peach. 15. Waluigi.
Wow.
16.
IGN
Baby
didn't
Luigi,
point this out.
17. Baby Daisy. And 18. Toadette. Now you might sit there and think, Felix, this is only 18 characters. You promised us 24. Well, this is where the ace up my sleeve comes in. Now you might also see a 19th character here and be like, well, you can't possibly make that character out. Well, it will all fall into place now. So this is just before they pan to that long view of the track where we can see 18, maybe 19 characters. Well, the last character there is Toadette. And here, this I believe is Bowser Jr. I think you can see a bit of his red hair up here. But,
I don't know, man.
What if there were characters behind Toadette? Well, there is. Now, take a look at this. These characters are clearly racing behind Toadette and Bowser Jr. And who are these characters? Well, this is Birdo. This is King Boo. And here, we have two cars which I just can't make out. But
Oh,
clearly
he's
two
over
different
there.
cars
Okay.
there.
I'm like,
So,
how are you making these out, man?
we
But
had
yeah, I
Toadette,
guess.
which was 18. Bowser Jr. is 19. Two characters which I cannot make out. 20, 21, Birdo, 22, King Boo, 23, and then, well, we one character short. But wait, in the last possible second, Shy Guy! Shy Guy is here, and it's the last character, 24. And you might think, no, this is just like a character from the stands. Well, for one thing, you should be able to see Shy
DK
Guy
look like
right
a weird
there,
version of
and
Yeah,
no, he appears right behind King
Yeah,
Boo. You can even see
they're
him
trying
reflecting a
something with
little
the art
bit,
style.
but there's more proof that this is actually Shy Guy. If we take a look at this frame, we can also see the characters in the back. I mean, here you can see King Boo, you can see Birdo, and then right between them, well, there's a racer who is Shy Guy. Now, this is also where we see the best frame of Bowser Jr. right there, the red hair, and then we see orange wheels. Yes,
I see it.
I'm fairly certain that this is Bowser Jr. And then we have these two characters right here. Now, it looks like one character, but they diverge right there. Who are they? Well, let us know down in the comments below. I think one of them is Baby Rosalina, and then one mystery character. Either way, 24 different characters with only 2 of them being like, huh, who are they? I'm quite proud of that find. But the characters is only one of the many things we see in this trailer, so let's analyze forward. And actually, right in this frame, we see something really cool. Anti-gravity sections or something
Style
along the
mismatch,
lines.
incorrect dong.
Here,
Oh no.
It's clearly not flat. Really, really cool. Can't wait to see what it is. When we look at the races...
Wait, was it?
Really, really cool. Something along the likes. I mean, up here... Cool. Anti-gravity sections or something along the likes. I mean, up here...
It does look like a bit of track
that's
up there. How did we
really,
get
really
there?
Cool. Can't wait to see what it is. When we look at the races, there's all sorts of different cars and bikes. But the one that intrigues me the most is Rosalina's snowmobile. Now, a snowmobile has been in Mario Kart Tour before, but look at this. Triangular wheels. Yeah, I can't wait to see what kind of card customizations there are in this game. And
All
quickly,
kinds.
talking about Mario Kart Tour, there's a feature from that game that also seems to be apparent here. Different laps have different layouts. At least that's what I'm assuming when I see these arrows. And I do like it much more how it looks here compared to in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Now, we've already talked about all the characters, but we haven't quite talked about their designs. And you might have noticed there's one character who looks quite a bit different, and that is Donkey Kong. Look at that. That's a complete redesign of Donkey Kong. And a funny thing is that this reveal trailer where we see Mario Kart is out the same day that Donkey Kong Country Returns HD is out. So now we have a game with the old design coming out, and they just go and redesign it. Now, personally, I quite like this change. Sure, it's going to take some time to get used to, but if this is how Donkey Kong looks going forward, I wouldn't mind it one bit. And taking our eyes off Donkey Kong's eyes, which, yeah, they are something, let's look at the track they're racing around on. Mario Bros. Circuit. Now, with a name like that, it looks like this is one of the earlier tracks, maybe even the first track of the game. Now, the setting is that USA, desert with long roads with no turns. We have those Grand Canyon orange-ready mountains and diners on the side. We'll talk more about those buildings in the end, but you know what this reminds me of? Cars. Specifically that city that Lightning McQueen gets stuck in. Now, I don't know the title in
Radiator
English, but
Springs,
in Danish
brother.
It's called Kulokilikuping. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, why don't we look at these banners by the side of the road? We can see here the banners that we have in-game companies, Luigi Tires and Mario Motors, as you might remember from previous Mario Karts. Then we have a Yoshi diner called Yoshi's, and as you can see, the diner itself is shaped like Yoshi. Super cool in my opinion.
Oh, it
Under
is.
Yoshi's nose, there's some kind of yellow glowing item.
I was focused on the
And
bun
it's not the only
overhang.
diner because here in the start, well, that's actually not a diner. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's a gas station. Fire Flower gas station with a car on top. We can also see a burger in the distance. And would you look at that? Mario Kart TV is making a return. We can also see that this track is
Replays.
super long. Are we just going to get incredibly long
Burger
circuits?
nose,
Maybe they
yes.
don't lap. Maybe they're all like Mount Wario where it changes
I
up.
think all the roofs are buns, actually. They just might be more hot dog inclined, but I'm seeing the sesame seeds here and on here as well. So I think all the roofs are buns. It just works out the best for the nose. But yeah.
I honestly wouldn't mind that if that be the case. But yeah, either way, it's a long track in the desert. I've also seen some people speculate, is this open area insinuating an open world Mario Kart game? I mean, having the lobby in an open world where you have to drive, like in Forza Motorsport, I don't know if that's the way forward. It would be cool if there was some sort of cool hub instead of just menus and you can jump in and drive around with your friends and
Yeah, dialing it back a bit, let's say it's more Crash Team Racing than Forza Motorsport, where like there's kind of free roam with it, but maybe not at a Forza Horizon scale. But it would be an interesting addition for sure. Didn't realize it was a bun until you noticed the cheese and lettuce lining. Oh.
there's a cool new chat function in this Switch. Now I'm just going off the rails with speculation, but wouldn't that be cool? Or maybe you're just sitting there and shaking your head being like,
He's
no
going off the
open world
rails
in
of the
my
crazy
Mario Kart
train, ladies and
game.
gentlemen.
Another big change showcased in this footage is, well, the art style. A much more stylized approach compared to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, especially when looking at the characters. They almost look smaller, have round edges, and are just overall really adorable. Now though, if we compare this footage to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, well, the difference is quite big, and I will say
Is it?
I do prefer the old look. I don't know, it kind of looks like
I see it in
something
the
that could
cart more
play
than actual
on the
Mario.
Switch. So the question is, will this be a Switch 2 exclusive? Will it be a cross-gen game? It might also be that this is very early footage and that we just haven't seen the final product yet, or maybe it looks much better in action when we can see it from the
Yeah.
player's perspective.
The
Of
DK
course,
is
the
different,
tracks, to me,
obviously,
is all
but
that matters.
I'm
Are
not
they
really
fun to
seeing
race
it in
around
Mario
on?
that
Do they
much.
have some fun new gimmicks like 24 players? I mean, even there, you've sold me. You've sold me, Nintendo. I cannot wait to see how the chaos plays out.
You
But
had me
anyway,
at
what do
new
you
Mario
think of
Kart.
this new Mario Kart? Are you excited? Are you a bit skeptical? Well, let us know down in the comments
You had
below.
me at
Enjoy
Switch
this
2. You had me at Switch. You had me at Nintendo. No. Wrong dong. Oh
video.
no.
There's also an article going over all the different details of this trailer written by Ollie Reynolds that you should also check out. I have it down in the description. Stay safe, check out Nintendo Live, click that subscribe button so you don't miss any Switch 2 related videos, and we'll see you in the next one. Felix from Nintendo Live, out.
Anal. I don't think that's what they intended with their logo being that, but... Mario Kart Secrets. Oh, that's the one from before. That's 19 minutes. I'd rather not. The Hidden Details in Squid Game Season 2. Now. You had me at... Oh. Okay. Alright. Okay. This person wants it doubled from 8 instead of just 4 more. With the 12, so they want 16 instead of 12 or 24. Tempering your expectations there. Okay. I want 4. You know the number of people that can actually play the game? Put that many in the race. But now I get the... I think, isn't there something, it's technically Mario Kart 10, depending on, like counting tour or not. But yeah. Kanji for nin taken from 10. Oh, okay. Had you at the first syllable of... Switch 1 was capable of 8 local players, at least for Smash. Yeah, but that's with an adapter, and like... It would be interesting if they adopt, because I'm not sure if you heard, but there's a game called Obliteracers that is kind of like, it's kind of a combination of those two. It's like if Mario Kart was a Smash Brothers game, is like the way I can put it. It's like you're all like sharing the screen with like the same portion of track that you're all on, and you can like move forward and backward and use items to take other people out. And it's kind of round based or lap based in that regard, I think, and it's a very interesting game. But I bring it up because you could also implement using mobile devices with it, so you can get even more people to play. It's kind of like Mario Kart Smash with like Jackbox accessibility and implementation of like getting everyone in on it, and it's pretty cool. I should really mess with it at some point and try and do some more with it. But old game called Thrill Ride. I'm not sure. I want a little more than a visual comparison. Kind of gotten that out of the way. The lighting and everything, I don't know. It's hard to just like. This has like the lighting and reflection and everything on the Mario Kart 8 side, and so I'm almost inclined to say that looks better, but the Kart in 9 does look interesting. But just I'd like to think it's early footage, and we'll get a better look in 3 months. Man. Konami arcade game that never made it stateside. Race on populated streets. Try not to die because death is not just played off; it is acknowledged. What does that mean? Yeah, and that'll be another big thing to see if they adopt the if OLED is the way forward or if they're going back to basic bitch. Because I mean, I'm sure those OLED screens are nice. It would be nice to have one, but that alone isn't justification for getting a separate model for me. I need some kind of power boost or something with it, or if my previous one doesn't work anymore and I need a new one. Um, I'm not sure. Another thing I wanted to mention is I saw. I don't know why I'm scrolling down looking at this, but I saw somewhere that there's a potentially leaked price of I think it was Best Buy that leaked it. I suppose that's something we could do. If I go to like oh, I clicked on the wrong thing. I'm not sure how many of those you wanted to see anyway. Um, I think it was Best Buy that had it leaked, and so I should probably go to no, not that one. That's the ugly, gross old one. Oh, Nintendo Switch Lite. We're not even talking about. Get out of here. Get screams and a close-up of your character's final moments before they slump over or go flying through the windshield, and every death makes the ambience more. What the hell? That's crazy. Okay, so 185 for one of those. Just these things are so cheap, it is insane. Um, but so for context now, at least as far as Amazon is concerned, a Nintendo Switch OLED with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is currently $350. I'm pretty sure. notifications, it says. They already have a page for it. I'm not sure how credible it is, but I think the price was leaked to be $349.99, the same as an OLED model Switch right now, which is kind of crazy to think about. Kind of crazy for that price tag. Like even 400 would be extremely reasonable at the moment for a lot of people. I imagine it's been removed after being leaked, or it was maybe in another country or something. But could be good. All right. Well, we've been going for an hour and 41 minutes. I just kind of wanted to break the news, unpack the new trailer and what we got. It's very limited information still at the moment, but at least Nintendo's finally gone, fine, here it is. Enjoy. We'll give you more in 3 months, you bastards. And yeah. Switch 2 is finally on its way. Later this year, we're going to find out more, get more info on the games. Yeah, I'm going to miss doing this quite a bit. I just don't think it's going to be as satisfying just snapping them on. But I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Is it that 400 is reasonable, or that PlayStation is skyrocketing the average? Well, I mean, like a base PS5 is like what, 500? Or I think it's like 500 for just PlayStation VR 2 because they're insane. But I mean, I think it's reasonable, considering like part of the appeal of like an Xbox Series S was those things are just $300 on average, so you can get like an actual decently powerful console for this gen for as much as a Switch. Because the Switch is not reasonably powerful for this gen. Has good games on it, has way too many games on it, honestly, but as far as third-party stuff is concerned, not reasonably powerful. But yeah, so I think the 300 is a pretty reasonable price point, although for the new one, when regular Switches are still kind of hovering around that, except for the Switch Lite, which we don't talk about. But that's going to be extremely reasonable right out of the gate if it's a $349.99. 400 seems more like a reasonable expectation. Like, okay, it's new equipment, it's going to be more powerful, it needs to be 400. 500 would have been like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? It has no games. Well, we're gonna find out about the games, because like if it gets, so personally I think it's Mario Kart 9 and Metroid Prime 4. And I mean, fucking Breath of the Wild was a Wii U game that also happened to be on the Switch, and it still sold the crap out of the Switch when it didn't even have its own game. So I'd like to think Mario Kart 9 and Metroid Prime 4 will be enough to sell a Switch, especially if I mean, I'm a little kind of unrealistic expectations with this, but also if they implement some kind of multiplayer into Metroid Prime 4, it would be awesome. But I don't know. Oh, that was the PlayStation joke? Yeah. I kind of a while back I kind of pictured some kind of meme about it where with like the PlayStation Classic where it's looking at a PS5 and it's like at least I've got 20 games. But yeah, that whole joke, yeah. But yeah, that's going to be a question too, like how much is going to be cross-gen. I know they kind of I wonder if they're going to like new 3DS it in that largely it's still going to be everything's on the Switch, but there's going to be some particular things where it just doesn't quite have the power to handle these particular games, so these need to be on here. Because like it's just I don't know if because I know Xenoblade Chronicles 3D really needed the new one. Did Majora's Mask 3D need it, or was it just an enhancement? I'm trying to remember. But yeah, it seemed like a real select few games, unless there's so many more in Japan that just didn't get here. But they seemed really few and far between, or they just realized really quick that they fucked up and was just like, all right, we're not doing that anymore. Everything on everything. But I wonder if they're gonna do that. If it's gonna be a select few games for this for just the Switch 2 and just keeping with the Switch. But it's gonna be interesting. It's going to be interesting. But yeah, I just wanted to hop on for a fairly quick amount of time tonight and go over this because it's very exciting. We've been waiting for it for years, and it's finally here, and we'll find out more in 3 months. And I should still be on tomorrow night. I should probably do something Nintendo related for in celebration of this announcement, but that's kind of not where things have been leaning. Might have to put that off for a later time, but we'll see. We'll see if I feel like pivoting. I do still kind of want to do another PlayStation Classic stream, get that out of the way. Um, and then Saturday we'll see, basically. But that's the plan for right now. Let me know what your thoughts are about the Switch 2. Are you going to pick it up? Are you going to wait and see? What are you hoping will come? What's your most unrealistic expectation of the Switch 2 that you can possibly imagine? And hit me with those and somewhere. But we'll go ahead and call it here for now, and I will see you next time. Have a good night.